Hey, what's going on, man?
So we're here. This is, if everyone knows me, this is my favorite. Oh, we interrupted his lunch. Damn it. Keep on eating. It don't matter anyway. Enjoy. So this is my favorite. So, well, it depends on what test. So for me, ALK, definitely go with Hanna. 100% with the ALK for the Hanna. And nitrate, definitely 100% Hanna again. The rest are a little bit, honestly, y'all know I don't bull crap, y'all. Copper, I don't really use. Calcium is way too. If I was fine tuning. So let's go. What's your name, first of all?
My name is Kevin.
Kevin, how are you doing, Kevin? Very well. I'm Roxas Shelton. Hidden Gems Aquatics. So what's your favorite, first of all? Which one is your favorite and easiest do you think is like to use? What size is your tank?
So I have a 90 mixed reef, mostly soft coral dominant. But I personally like the nitrate the best, only because I have a lot of personal invested into that from a product development standpoint. So I like that one the most, and it's out of all the different products we came out with, that was probably the most innovative from a technical standpoint. But you can't beat the alkalinity either as well. So, but I think with the calcium, people often look at the instructions and get intimidated from it. But in reality, it's no more difficult than like a Salifert or a Red Seed calcium test. It involves the user to use this pipette because the test requires a large amount of RO water, right? So I think people see this and they're like, I don't know what the hell to do with this. So it kind of intimidates them a little bit, coupled with the fact that they have to use RO water and none of the other tests require it. So, but that test overall, I think it's just if the alkalinity takes 1 minute, the calcium takes 2.5 minutes. You know what I mean? So it just with that one's particularly as well, it's prone to errors if you don't have good RO water. Yep. So if someone doesn't change their membranes out frequently, or they have some sort of like high TDS with their RODI system, one thing you could do to help mitigate that is just go buy distilled water from your pharmacy and use that as a.
Oh wow, good advice.
And also, what we noticed over the years is people were taking their cuvettes and rinsing them with tap water. That'll mess up all your results. Never use tap water with any test kit, whether it's Hanna, Salifert, Red Sea, because you don't know what's in your tap water. And particularly with calcium, this test, if there's any residual calcium in your tap water and that gets into the cuvettes, into that cuvette, you're actually getting it a false high reading because you have to use such a small amount of salt water in that test. If there's any other calcium other than that small amount that's in the salt water, it's going to give you a false high reading.
Nice. Wow.
One of the things that the big wave was the Marine Master. That was like the big wave, and I was like, ooh, I like it. But then I'm kind of stuck in my ways where phosphate nitrate ALK. That's what I use for Hanna. I have them. I buy the reagents all the time, and I haven't used the mag. How good is the mag?
Magnesium is the easiest magnesium test in the market.
And how accurate would you say the mag is, though?
So the mag has an accuracy statement of about 5% of the reading. So, which is comparable to any magnesium test in the market. The nice thing about this one is you don't have the way this test. You're not counting drops and a lot, like about 4 mLs of this liquid, I believe, and then 1 powder packet, and it's a very, very short timer. So this test, you're not going to count drops or have to titrate or wait till you go down and down and down. It's a really simple test. And when we first launched this checker, we actually had a reagent recall. So I think a lot of people who were using it are still thinking something wrong with it, but we actually have since replaced everything and updated everything. So you should be using a checker now with a liquid powder reagent for this particular model.
That was the same thing with the nitrate. When you guys first came out, you had the ultra low, I think it was, or low.
We still that one was. We have a low and a high range, and the low range one is really, really accurate, but it's not really convenient. So it requires free reagents, has dilution, all this stuff. But it's the most accurate nitrate test you can get anywhere. From like a technical, scientific standpoint, it's accurate up to 0.25 ppm. Wow. The only thing that you can do, like measuring nitrates in seawater is a very technically difficult thing to do. And there's not a whole lot of companies that have an accurate low-range nitrate in seawater test. So we were really, even though that meter wasn't really popular for the consumer hobbyist market, it was a really popular meter from like a scientifically technical standpoint because it's really, really accurate at low ranges, and it was a really difficult thing to achieve. So in the reverse, we created the high-range one to counteract the convenience claim. Right. So, yeah,
because I sold my low on Reef to Reef,
right,
and bought this the high, and I must say I love it. It's my favorite.
It's a very easy test, and there isn't another test like it on the market.
You got to remember, if it's easy, people will do it.
Right.
Like if you're a water change. If a water change is easy enough, I'm going to do it. If it's a test, I'll do it tomorrow. And then tomorrow becomes tomorrow. And then, you know, so the low was difficult. I sold on Reef to Reef and bought the high. And I love the high. I love the alk. I love the phosphate. And I haven't used the others. I've used the calcium, and it just seemed like too many steps. And I said no. And I use Salifert now, to be honest.
So calcium, like I said, the pipette's the issue. But if you were to run a calcium test, basically the way it works, right, is you add 1 ml of reagent, and you fill the line with RO water, right? Then you add 1 powder packet and a little bit of salt water with a pipette. You shake for 15 seconds and you're done. Like I said, I just explained it a lot easier than probably what's written in the instructions.
You really did.
Right. It's not a difficult test. It's just prone to user error based on the fact that it has a 100-to-1 dilution. So because it uses so much RO water and reagent, very little seawater, if your RO water isn't good, then that can cause false high readings, and people get confused and frustrated, which understandably so. When we first launched this product, we didn't have this pipette. So we had people use a syringe to add 0.1 mils, and that was chaotic. So the pipette has since mitigated a lot of those issues, so long as the user has good RO water. If you don't have good RO water, just use distilled water from a pharmacy and it should be fine.
So do you think, compared to each one of these, and say for instance I'm vested already in all three, is it worth it to say, okay, I want to move up to the master, or just stick with the three?
Well, the master does a lot of things the checkers will never do. One, it's more precise, so the optical system in there is more advanced, so it measures not just from point A to point B what a checker does, but it reads off a beam splitter and reads the cuvette from a lot of different angles. So it's going to be more precise. If you run 10 tests in a row, theoretically you're going to get 10 more tests in the same value. It mitigates things like, scratches. If the cuvette's kind of scratched at one angle, you don't have to worry about that being a big problem. It data logs, it connects to your phone. So if you want to, it connects to the Hanna Lab app, so you can actually run the test from your phone and start the meter process from your phone and save everything to the app, right? You can't, it gives you instructions on the screen about how to run the test. You don't got to look back to the manual. All the manuals are built into the meter itself, and the whole thing is waterproof and floats.
Oh, wow.
Oh, I did not know all those things.
Just think it's drop right in your tank. It'll be completely fine.
I think you need to do a commercial on that one. We didn't know that. So one of the things is Shelton over here has this salinity tester.
Yeah.
And a lot of the things in his tank didn't make it because of the tester. He didn't calibrate that tester. How often do you say you should be calibrating that salinity tester?
On best practice, you want to calibrate about once a month. I would say that's a fair assessment. Obviously, if you work at a store, or you have like a maintenance company or something like that, I would probably recommend calibrating it weekly. But for the average hobbyist, once a month is more than sufficient.
Okay. Wow.
Listen, this is honestly my favorite test kit. The ones that I do use anyway is my favorite. So I want to thank you very, very much.
Thank you.
Your products are amazing. I mean, probably make the calcium a little bit easier and I'll buy it. But for now, I do love the nitrate, phosphate, and the alk. Those are my top tier right there.
next. You'll be happy.
Yeah, I'm gonna definitely. I have not tried the mag, so I'm gonna. Yeah, I'm gonna definitely try it.
A lot, though, that we did not know about this device right here. So thank you so much. All right, and before we go, what are these cute little things you got right here?
So I don't make these. It's a guy that 3D prints them. He's called Rhino's Reef.
Rhino's Reef, yeah, we know Rhino's Reef very well.
Prints,
Oh yeah, we know.
you can screw in the cuvette some holes here.
Oh, I like that.
So I like these to let the cuvettes air dry after you rinse it with RO water. Get
Yep.
a little notch here.
Yep, that's what I did with mine.
And it's helpful to make sure your cuvettes are air dried after they're clean.
Yeah, no, I
that.
did the same thing, but I didn't do that. I did like a stick
Yeah.
and put it on the stick so it air dries.
I like that.
Yeah.
That's really nice. Really
Very
nice.
nice.
Well, thank you, man.
Thank you
Appreciate
very, very
so
much.
Enjoy
All
the
right.
rest of your show. All right. All right.